Hey there, Stuart Bell from Adara here, and today I want to talk about something that's going on increasingly and probably going to increase, which is advisors who are having conversations with clients who potentially were legacy trail clients who are phoning up and going, I want to know what I've been paying for this last 10 years. I want to share with you what to do when you get one of these conversations through and what not to do. Join me as we talk about how to manage a what have my fees been paying for kind of conversation. You know what? I reckon in the past 3 weeks, I've had at least 3 of these come through to me. People on the program saying, how do I deal with this? Conversation, someone who, potentially has been part of our, we bought them from another business. They're part of our book. We've engaged them. We've sent out emails. We've tried to make contact. We sent them stuff and often they don't respond. And now they come back to us post Royal Commission saying, I want to know what my fees I paid you. Now, we're not talking about the high-end stuff. We're talking often about clients who paid, small amounts, sometimes from insurance, sometimes from old legacy policies. Now, I'm not going to get involved in the compliance stuff because every licensee will deal with this differently. And ultimately, if this is a complaint, you need to go straight to your licensee and talk about it. But if it's not yet a complaint, and this is the key part, if someone's just asking for information, don't assume it's a complaint. The strategy I've seen work really well is to get on the phone. First thing, hey, thanks very much for your email. Would love to just jump on a call about 15 minutes and understand a little bit more about your question and what information you'd need. Now, straight away, we're diffusing it by not trying to take an alternate position, but simply trying to engage people. Then on the call, really you're trying to understand what was the basis of the advice originally? What was your understanding of the way you're engaged? What was, what point in the last year have you sort of responded? In many cases, what we've noticed is that clients will actually hold up their hand and say, yeah, I do understand. I've seen your stuff and I haven't responded. And they'll take some ownership. But the point of this is just simply to do a data gather. We're trying to understand clearly whether or not the client was set the expectation that they would receive a certain level of service, or like a lot of legacy clients, the service they signed up for was a trail commission paid out of a product, whereas if they needed help, they could turn to the advisor and get help. Now, at some point, if it's not a complaint, you might turn around and realize that in actual fact, what the client signed up for is exactly what they received. The new world isn't necessarily the same as the old world. Just because the world is like this now, it doesn't mean what people signed up for earlier on needs to be necessarily backtracked, unless, of course, they signed up for something and didn't receive it. But the opportunity here is to get on the front foot and say, look, the situation is, I've had a look into it, and I believe that the way that it was structured is exactly what it was delivered. However, I don't want you to feel that I'm just the kind of advisor who isn't, going to sort of help you out when needed. So I'd like to offer you the opportunity, if you're keen, of sitting down with me and kind of going through the same process that I work with a lot of my clients, which is we'll spend an hour together and we'll do a bit of a stock take. We'll clearly define and check in about what it is you're looking to achieve from your financial future. In other words, that conversation you had 5, 10, 20 years ago with someone else, I want to talk about whether those are still the objectives. And if not, let's talk about the new objectives. Then let's come back and just do a bit of stock take of where you think things are at and where things are at. And we'll go through and identify, where you're on track, potentially where there may be areas that you might need to focus on where changes will be made. And at the end of that meeting, if I haven't added value to you, I'm willing to give you a rebate or a refund if that's where you want to go. But alternatively, if you like the process and you think the way that we do advice is better than the way it's done before, I'm happy to take whatever you paid over the last few years and rebate it off any fee that I pay going forward. In other words, this is an opportunity to take a client who potentially is feeling angry about having read something and turn them around and make them realize that not all advice is the same, and the way that it's done these days is very, very different. Anyway, hope that's been useful. Look, in summary, there's going to be many of these conversations coming out. I think the first important thing to do is not treat them as complaints, not try and obstruct them, but first go in there and try and understand. And the opportunity here is to flip it around and offer people the opportunity to engage with advice the way it's now being given, not necessarily the way it was before. Anyway, let me know if you've had a few of these calls come through. Let me know how you've dealt with them. Alternatively, if you do have some coming through and you want to have a bit of a chat about some of the ways that not just through your conversations, but also your service models, you can potentially deal with them, shoot me an email through at help@adara.com.au and I'll see if I can help. Anyway, have a great week.